Yo guys, it's slyroh. You already know that today I'm bringing you guys my team analysis for week 1 of season 3 of the TBU, and this week we are taking on the Wolverhampton Weaviles and their coach Just Weavile, otherwise known as Jack. And this is someone that I've never battled before. I'm not super familiar with, but does have a really scary team. So I definitely put forth so much effort into building this team. The goal of this season is to not get embarrassed, and by doing that, that basically means that I just need to make sure that I'm putting forth 110% effort in every single team build I do, which is something that you should always do. But sometimes I, you know, get a little cocky, get a little like, oh, this will work, blah, 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 and then I overlook certain things. That's not happening this season. I'm not overlooking anything. I am going to make sure that I bring the best 6 every single week, and hopefully win as many games as possible. The goal is to get into the playoffs. Once we do that, then we'll worry about, finals and all that good stuff. But right now, we just need to focus on playoffs, and that starts with right here, week 1. So we want to start off the season with a win. So I'm going to run you through the team of what I'm bringing against him, the reason why, and my thought process and things like that. As you can see on the layout, basically just to explain what is there, we have my team on the left, my opponent's team on the right. You can see the benched mons are the ones below the line, and the icons at the bottom, those are the 6 Pokemon that I'm bringing, and the 6 Pokemon that I expect my opponent to bring. So let's go ahead and just quickly run through his team. So he has a Mega Medicham, Bisharp, Crobat, Landorus T, Volcarona, Manectric, Slowking, Venusaur, and Aggron. He actually took Aggron off the bench. He switched it with Ditto. So Ditto, Dugtrio, and Sableye on the bench. That means I do not have to plan for those 3. Ditto, Dugtrio, Sableye cannot show up to this battle. Just like for me, Omastar, Hitmonchan, and Ambipom cannot show up to this match because it is on my bench for this week. If I wanted to bring them, then I would have had to take one off the bench, switch it with the mon that is on the team, and I would have had to do that ahead of time, and I just didn't see any of those 3 being an option for one of my best 6 mons to bring to this match. So I didn't take any of them off the bench. Now, him taking Aggron off the bench definitely throws a couple red flags up, because I wasn't really expecting that. I don't see Aggron doing a lot to my team. Obviously something like a Banded Head Smash does run through my team, but at the same time it doesn't OHKO anything, and I outspeed with literally everything and have a lot of fighting and ground coverage on my team. So what his plan with that Aggron, I'm not entirely sure. He could just be bluffing it, might not actually bring it, and we might bring it the week after for somebody else. I don't really know what his plan is. So obviously the biggest threats, or the 6 that I expect him to bring, Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham is the only Pokemon, like, in existence that I can think of that actually runs through my core. It destroys Mega Venusaur, it 2-hit KOs Arcanine, High Jump Kick does a lot to Manaphy, and Porygon 2, I don't care how many Eviolites you give it, it is not taking on the Medicham 1v1. Which is really, really disappointing. So I feel like Mega Medicham definitely has to come. It has the coverage to basically hit everything, and it is going to be a pain to deal with. Bisharp, I think, is also coming, mostly because I feel like he's going to try and Pursuit Trap my Alakazam, if he expects it to come, which it is. So we're going to basically have to try and prevent that from happening, but I really do think that Bisharp could come, to Pursuit Trap the Alakazam, could also be useful for knocking off Porygon 2's Eviolite, as well as if he wanted just something to straight up OHKO Slurpuff easily. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, Bisharp would do that. Crobat is the premier, it's probably the best Mega Venusaur answer that I can think of. It takes Mega Venusaur 1 super, super well, and that's why I think Crobat is going to come. It's also speedy, and it's just kind of an annoyance to take out, so I really think Crobat's coming. Landorus T, I definitely could see a Choice Scarf set coming. I'm starting to see that. I do think it could do a lot. I do have a slight ground weakness, especially given the mons that I'm bringing. I don't have things that could take Earthquake, like Mega Venusaur and Porygon 2, aren't coming to this match, so that could be an issue. Also, if he had Scarf U-Turn or Knockoff to outspeed the Alakazam, and do a lot of damage to that. outspeed the Cabalion. So there's a lot of things that I think he could do with Landorus T, but I really do think that it could be Scarfed or a Rock Polish set. That could also be scary. The other two that I think he's going to bring, I do think Venusaur or Manectric. It's one of those two. Just to deal with Manaphy, I could see a Specs Manectric, or like a Scarfed Venusaur, or maybe a Chlorophyll Venusaur in the sun. Just to deal with the Manaphy offensively. I don't know how much defensive, like, checks / switch-ins he really has to Manaphy. So I think his best bet is going to deal with it offensively, which is why I could definitely see the Manectric or Venusaur coming. I actually am starting to lean a little bit towards Manectric, but I think Venusaur, for me, just is a little bit more annoying to take out, so I'm just going to guess that it comes, because I would like to see it less. And then Aggron, I literally just think it's coming just because he took it off the bench for me. I don't really have much other reason, because otherwise I probably wouldn't expect it to come, but we gotta be on our toes now. Really quickly, I just want to go over what I'm not bringing and why. I'm not bringing the Mega Venusaur because Mega Medicham, like, hurts it. Crobat is one of the best answers in the game to it, and Mega Venusaur and Slowking have this weird stalemate where they both kind of beat each other. It just depends on, like, you know, who's in and who gets the first move and all that good stuff. So Mega Venusaur, while it was close to coming, I just didn't see it as a necessity. So I left it behind. Slurpuff is another one. Slurpuff I really wanted to do something crazy with to try and beat the Mega Medicham. But after having a bunch of other plans, I've decided that I don't need it. Also, Slurpuff just does not do a lot to the rest of his team, and he has enough special attackers that a Cotton Guard set wasn't going to work, so I just decided to leave Slurpuff behind. Porygon 2 also got left behind, just because, I mean, the first two things, Mega Medicham, Bisharp, you know, both of them kind of beat it. Well, I mean, Bisharp can knock off its Eviolite, Mega Medicham can just high jump kick it to death. Landorus T also gets knock off, so things that I think Porygon 2 could deal with, you know, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. So, let's go ahead and go into the team that I am bringing. So, first mon that I am bringing is going to be Manaphy the Manaphy, making its debut, and hopefully not going to disappoint, because I'm really nervous about using Manaphy. I really think that I'm going to end up using it badly, and I'm going to end up, like, I don't know, just being bad with it, being careless, being reckless, but I'm bringing a physically defensive Scald, Calm Mind, Rest, Rain Dance set. It's pretty standard, and I think it does do a lot to his team. Also, fun fact, I did a little bit of scouting, and the last league match that Jack has on his channel, he got 6-0'd by a defensive Calm Mind Manaphy. So, he might extra prep for this Manaphy just to make sure that doesn't happen again, but the fact remains that this is the best set to take on his team. I can Calm Mind against any of the special attackers, and, you know, well, once I get a couple of Calm Minds up, like, then the special attackers can't do much to me, and I can start setting up Calm Minds against a lot of the physical attackers. Mega Medicham actually only has a chance to 2-KO me. Landorus T could only 2-KO me if it's banded. Bisharp, probably same thing, has to set up Sword Stances or banded, you know, things like that. Manaphy works really well against Aggron if Aggron comes in, and I think Manaphy is going to end up being my lead, just because it kind of 1v1s a lot of the likely leads that Jack has. So hopefully we can, you know, kind of outlast in the beginning and stay around and possibly clean up at the end, or just get a few kills in the middle to help something else clean up at the end. So that's kind of the plan. So yeah, hopefully Manaphy puts in work. I'm really hoping it does. And yeah, that's basically Manaphy. So next mon, I actually want to talk about next is going to be Arcanine. I should have put these in order, but I kind of forgot to. Also, I am actually going to, I am going to actually switch this to Intimidate. So, and I was really debating that, but, alright, so here's the thing. Hipster the Arcanine is coming with leftovers, especially defensive, Intimidate, Flare Blitz, Morning Sun, Toxic, and Will-O-Wisp. This is my Volcarona answer. I am terrified of Volcarona. The more I look at my team, the more I think that he might not bring it, but Volcarona is the type of Pokemon that I feel I will end up let set up on me and, like, sweep me, and be underprepared for it. So I made sure to do the opposite, and I kind of over-prepared for it, if that makes sense. But, this is definitely to deal with that. This can also deal with Manectric, Also deal with Venusaur, if it's like especially offensive Venusaur, with like a Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, things like that. But we will see. And I mean, if those things don't end up happening and those things don't end up coming, then Arcanine can just be. It's good to get Intimidate off. I didn't want to bring Intimidate just because Bisharp, if I give it a Defiant boost, Knockoff is a guaranteed OHKO on Arcanine at +1. So we got to make sure that we try and prevent any double switches like that happening. We don't want to let Bisharp get to +1. That's going to be bad for us. However, Intimidate is really good to get off against Mega Medicham specifically, because Mega Medicham at -1 attack, I actually have a lot more switch-ins to then. And by a lot more, I mean Manaphy, like, can easily 1v1 it at that point. Alakazam won't die to it. And there's just things like that. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that Arcanine does put in a little bit of work. And again, if it ends up that a lot of these special attackers that I'm scared of don't end up coming, then Arcanine just becomes expendable. I'd like to get some Toxics and Will-O-Wisps off if I could burn Mega Medicham, Bisharp. That would be really, really great. He doesn't really have any Clerics, so if I can get a status off, then I'll be set. They'll be statused for the match, and I can work around that. I can whittle it down, and then I can clean it up with the rest of my mons. I'm bringing a very offensive team. These are the only two kind of defensive things I have, and even Manaphy is like, it has offensive setup. Arcanine is really truly the only defensive mon. Everything else is being brought pretty offensively. Speaking of things to do with special mons, I am going to be bringing Arbamon the Electivire with the Assault Vest, Motor Drive, Rock Slide, Brick Break, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, 244 attack, 228 speed, Jolly, and then the rest just HP and special defense. Why did I do that? That was at level 50. I think I messed something up. So this should actually be, yeah, that should actually be 36. I'm not entirely sure where that happened, but that's a good enough. That's a good enough EV spread there. And basically, this is to deal with the Manectric that I really think is going to come to prevent him from volt switching all over my team. Also, if you know, Crobat's going to start going for like Brave Birds and stuff like that, like I can deal with that easily. However, so can kind of the rest of my team. I don't know, so we'll see. But Electivire, let's see, that has enough speed to outspeed Landorus T. And basically the only thing that outspeeds Electivire would be like a max speed Mega Medicham or Volcarona or Manectric. So like if he goes like Adamant in any of them, then I outspeed. And this moveset just takes on almost everything. Like Thunder Punch is good stab, also hits Slowking, Brick Break hits the Bisharp for lots, Ice Punch hits Crobat, Landorus T, Venusaur, Rock Slide hits the Volcarona, can also hit Crobat if need be. So, actually, Thunder Punch also is Crobat, so I have a lot for Crobat, apparently. But this is just, I think, the optimal moveset to deal with this whole team, and I do really think that Electivire is going to put in work. If I can get, if I switch in on a Volt Switch, and I get my Motor Drive, I'll be at +1 speed, and I can outspeed literally everything. Which would be really, really good, and I could use that to my advantage. I'm able to switch around my attacks because I'm Assault Vest. I'm not choiced in any way, and I think that's really, really going to help me. So I really am hoping that Electivire can put in a lot of work. If he does end up bringing a lot of speed and a lot of Scarfers, then maybe Electivire won't put in as much work, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So, let's see, next thing I want to talk about, let's talk about Cobalion. Athos to Cobalion, after throwing around a lot of ideas, I ended up bringing Choice Scarf Cobalion with Stealth Rock, Volt Switch, Stone Edge, and Close Combat. 196 speed Jolly is enough to outspeed base 100s. That's Volcarona and Mega Medicham. Which also means that it can outspeed a +1 speed Volcarona. So if Volcarona has 1 Quiver Dance up, I can still outspeed it and kill it with Stone Edge. The HP 232 just make it odd. Nothing matters that much. 76 attack just for, you know, a little bit more attack investment, and just kind of threw 4 in defense because I'm pretty sure if you throw, yeah, it doesn't up the stat at all, so that's why the 4 was thrown into defense instead. Just wanted to double check that. I want Stealth Rocks because there's a Volcarona. Also, his only hazard removal is Crobat with defog, so if he wants to try and get rocks up against me, I'll get rocks up against him, and if he doesn't want rocks, he's going to have to defog, which means he's going to have to defog rocks away on both sides. So I want to be able to put that pressure on him, just to force him to go for defog, and then I can get some offensive momentum, or or he'll just keep rocks up, and then he'll get worn down, and hopefully I can wear him down faster than he can wear me down. So that's why I want Stealth Rocks. That's literally the main reason that Cobalian's even here, because, like, I was looking into Cobalian's, like, moveset and trying to bring things that I thought would be good against his team, and I'm really not liking Cobalian. I have to bring Stone Edge because it doesn't learn Rock Slide. What kind of garbage is that? It doesn't learn Earthquake. Like, what kind of good Steel type doesn't get Earthquake? Like, I'm starting to be convinced that Cobalian is like the scum of the earth, but I'm bringing Stone Edge for the Volcarona and Close Combat for the Bisharp and for a good stab. Volt Switch to just get out on everything, because I really don't think Cobalian's going to be putting in that much work, but I really want to get rocks up. I also have Scarf that way. If I kind of want to lead off with Cobalian too, just because I can get rocks up right away, and Scarf means that I will, like, be guaranteed to, so we'll see what I end up doing. It'll probably be a game time decision, but yeah, so Close Combat also hits the Aggron. A lot of things can switch into Cobalian, so I'm just hoping that I can use Volt Switch to my advantage, get some momentum, drop in some more offensive momentum, offensive pressure, and just whittle away at his defenses, like, way faster than he can whittle away at mine. So that's basically the only plan I have at this point, because otherwise I would not bring Cobalian. I'm already starting to not be a fan, and I'm really hoping that Cobalian can prove me wrong. Speaking of offense, our last two mons are nothing but offensive, and let's go ahead and start showing off U-Turn the Flagon, which does not have U-Turn, but is holding a Life Orb with Levitate, Max Speed, Max Special Attack, Naive Nature, because it is a mixed Wall Breaker set with Draco Meteor, Rock Slide, Thunder Punch, and Earth Power. This moveset basically does a lot to everything. Nothing wants to take a combination of Draco and a coverage move. So, Mega Medicham doesn't want to take Draco Meteor plus, I don't know, Thunder Punch, Earth Power. I think Draco Meteor is already, like, close to being an OHKO. So literally any prior damage or any second attack is good. Plus I'm naive, so if, unless he brings Max Speed Jolly, Mega Medicham, he won't have speed, and then even if he does, it's a speed tie, which I would definitely be willing to risk. So, because that's just what it is. Bisharp doesn't really want to deal with Earth Powers. I think it could take one, maybe. Actually, it could be wrong. It probably won't. Crobat, I don't think wants to deal with Draco plus Thunder Punch or Rock Slide. I think it might need to take Rock damage on top of that. I don't remember. I'm going to have to recalc some of these things. Lander's T is probably the only thing that can kind of deal with this. Draco Meteor still does, I want to say, like 70%. So, yeah. Plus, Lander's T can't do a lot to Flagon. In terms of, like, OHKOing. I think Superpower did the most, and I don't expect Jack to bring Superpower. But, yeah. and then hopefully, if he's not Scarfed or anything, I can outspeed the Lander's T, so any prior damage, I can just get a big hit off Volcarona, Rock Slide. Obviously it dies too. Electric, Earth Power, doesn't want to deal with. Slowking, Draco Meteor plus Thunder Punch, almost takes it out, so literally the smallest percent of prior damage, and Slowking is done. Of course that depends on the spread and things like that. Venusaur probably takes this on the best, but still Draco Meteor, I wanted to say, does at least half. And Aggron doesn't want to deal with Earth Power. So Flagon literally runs through his whole team. If I can get some prior damage on basically everything, and I can get Flagon in safely, there is basically no safe plays that he can make. So I think Flagon is actually going to put in a huge amount of work this week. And it's going to start showing people that it is not trash, because that is one of the goals for the season, is to show people that Flagon is not trash. I really like the move coverage that it gets, and I think that it's going to be really good. So I really like this. And then last mon, this is actually more of a last minute bring. I didn't have this on the plan for the longest time, but I kind of started seeing that, hey, this puts in a lot of work. So, we have Vanilla Killer, the Alakazam with the Focus Sash, Magic Guard, 220 speed modest, outspeed base 100s, 252 special attack modest with the remaining 36 in HP, because HP on an Alakazam is always important. You already know. But Shadow Ball, Psychic, Focus Blast, Protect hits everything that's not Volcarona. Everything gets hit really, really hard. Either it takes Stab Psychic really hard, or it's weak to Shadow Ball, like Mega Medicham and Slowking, or Focus Blast, like Bisharp and Aggron. Protect is basically for two reasons, because I could have put like Hidden Power Rock just to like deal with Volcarona, but I prefer to be able to deal with Mega Medicham. If I can have Alakazam like in a 1v1 matchup against Mega Medicham, I can use Protect so I don't take like 30+% from Fake Out or whatever. It's like a ridiculous amount that Alakazam takes. So I can use Protect to just, you know, keep myself from that. Also, if I do end up being into a 1v1 matchup with Bisharp, I can click Protect to start playing some Mind Games with Sucker Punch and Pursuit. And maybe I can win some Mind Games. That's obviously not the ideal situation, and I'd rather that not happen, but it's there. Plus Protect, if he does end up bringing a Choice Scarf user to outspeed Alakazam, I can click Protect, and I can see what he locks himself into, and then I can deal with that accordingly. So, I think that is going to help out a lot. So yeah, this is a pretty offensive team, meaning that he can wear me down with some good switches, things like that. I'm going to have to try and keep up as much pressure as I can. Thankfully, I do have a lot of mons that can come in after something dies and just immediately put in pressure. Things like Flygon, things like Alakazam, and things like Electivire. Nothing really wants to deal with that. Even Arcanine to an extent. So, like, he doesn't really want to deal with any of my mons. I don't really want to deal with most of his mons, and as long as I can take his out first, then that's all that we really need to do. So, the first battle will be up tomorrow, and I hope you guys come out and support and root us on to victory, because I really want to start off the season with a win. If we start off with a win, that is going to create a lot of momentum for us moving forward. Maybe we can get some more wins, and that is going to get us closer to our goal of making the playoffs, because that's what we want to do. So, that's going to wrap up this video. I'm sure this was probably longer than I thought it would be. That's just how my team analysis things tend to work out. So, you know, if you enjoyed, let me know. If you don't, that's fine. And I will see you guys in the battle. So, thanks for watching, and until the next time, guys, stay sly.